Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to go over the top 8 games that I've played on the Xbox One. I would have 10, but this generation, don't hate me, but this generation Xbox didn't really have the greatest track record, and so most of the games I played were on my PlayStation 4. But I did play some games on the Xbox. I like the Xbox. I just played most of the stuff on PS4 this generation. So anyway, without further ado, the top 8 games that I actually played on Xbox. Number 8, Killer Instinct. Back in the days of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, I was looking for a new game to rent for the weekend. I saw a game called Killer Instinct. The game looked really cool with the badass robot on the cover. So I asked my mom if we could rent it. Being a spoiled kid that I was, she said yes. So when I got home, I rushed to my Super Nintendo and got my ass kicked for quite a few hours. Back then, the game looked so good and the characters were so rad looking, I didn't care. My memory is a little fuzzy, but I am pretty sure I only beat the game with like 2 characters because it was hard as balls. My brother, on the other hand, was able to learn the combo and beat the game with multiple characters. Now skip to the Xbox One and look who's back. One of the coolest looking and unique fighters ever made. I suck at fighters now because I don't play them very much anymore, but the visuals and characters are so different than your average fighter that I still had to take a trip down memory lane and button mash my way to victory like a noob. And with the new combo assist, I feel like I'm doing good. I hope they keep adding characters like they did with Arbiter from Halo, Rash from Battletoads, and Rom from Gears of War. With all that said, Killer Instinct comes in at number 8. Message to the pros. Don't hate me for being a casual. I did buy the game, so in a way, I helped to get more content. You're welcome. Number 7. Lego DC Supervillains. The last Lego game I played before I finally got tired of them was Lego Pirates of the Caribbean on Xbox 360. I played almost every Lego game up to that point, even the Bionicle game. Yeah, the Bionicle game. Now skip to April 2020. It's quite a ways. And I saw DC Supervillains was on sale for the 8 billionth time, and having not played it, or played a Lego game for quite some time, I decided, I guess I'll finally try a new one. In Lego DC Supervillains, you start off making your own character, and they finally added full customization to your character, almost as good as a WWE wrestling game. Everything can be colored, your moves, and which buttons they are assigned to can be picked. You can make almost anyone once you unlock all the parts, so instantly, of course, I was hooked. And then I recognized the voices of the villains and heroes, and my jaw dropped. They got the cast from the awesome Justice League cartoon to reprise their roles. Kevin Conroy should just be dubbed over any actor who plays Batman at this point. If I don't hear his voice when Batman speaks, it just doesn't feel like Batman to me. Kevin Conroy should change his name to Bruce Wayne. Also, Mark Hamill is back as the Joker. And everyone else you would expect is also back. Don't hate me, I don't remember everybody's name. Their voice actors' names. But anyway, the story is all about the villains this time, and it's a fresh take on the DC universe, told in hilarious Lego fashion. With the improved camera and controls, the epic character creator, amazing story and voice acting, and being able to play the whole thing in couch co-op split screen, makes this game come in at number 7. Because I had so much fun with this game, I ended up buying 7 other Lego games that were on sale. Looks like they hooked me again. Number 6. Deep Rock Galactic. In this game, you play as one of 4 dwarves that go space mining for a corporation. Each level is randomly generated and completely destructible, but with a series of preset tasks, such as mine X amount of gold, crystal, eggs, etc. But along the way, you will have to face alien bug hordes and try not to die. While filling up your mining bot, this game has full 4-player online co-op, but no split screen. It desperately needs split screen for me because I play a lot of games with my brother. Anyway, each of the 4 dwarves has a unique skill or tool that helps them traverse the mines. The driller, a digging specialist who can carve through rock with ease with his titanium power drills while fending off swarms with his red-hot flamethrower. The engineer, a tactical dwarf who excels in area control with his sentry turrets and platform gun. The gunner, a frontline combatant armed with a terrifyingly powerful minigun which can mow down targets with ease. And the scout, the one I play as, the most mobile of the 4 dwarves, with the grappling hook carrying him to any height and his flare gun illuminating even the grimmest of caves. With all this going for it and how fun it is to play and the funny dialogue between the dwarves and stuff, it comes in at number 6. If it had split screen, it would definitely be higher on this list. I really hope they add it. Number 5. Gears of War 4. Now, Gears of War was one of the best Xbox 360 games when it came out. The third-person cover-based shooter could be played in full co-op online or split screen. It had competitive multiplayer, and it was one of the most gory games I had played, other than Mortal Kombat at the time. Taking your chain blade and cutting a mutant in half was so insanely gratifying, and it still is 5 games later, or 6 games, however many games I have. Gears 2 and 3 felt like a nice little bow to wrap up the story and the series. So when I heard of the 4th one coming out, I was like, why? They wrapped it up. Money, that's why. Anyway, I didn't play it day one because I heard the campaign was only about 9 hours long, and I wasn't about to spend $60 on a 9-hour campaign, even though it has tons of multiplayer, which I don't play competitive that much. Eventually, it came to Game Pass, and so I finally decided to give it a go. I'm like, what the heck, I'll finally play it. I can tell you this, the game is not 9 hours long. In fact, it took me about 20 to 25 hours to beat the campaign on normal difficulty. Maybe I just suck, but it took a long time. And the cover-based combat felt really good. The 4K visuals, holy crap. When I got my 4K TV, I was blown away by playing this game. I mean, the game's like 100 gigs now, but it's worth it. It looks amazing. It's one of the best looking games on the system. Anyway, the story felt like visiting an old friend who you hadn't seen in years. Gears was back. You play as Marcus Phoenix's son, who was the first main character in the original games. But he's kind of a douche in this. But thankfully, you meet up with the grumpy old man, Marcus, and he joins your crew that adds some great commentary to the game. I won't spoil the story, but I really like the twist at the end. So with that said, Gears 4 comes in at number 5. And as of the filming of this video, I have not played 5 yet. 5 might be number on this list, but I just never got around to it. It's on Game Pass. I'll get around to it eventually. My backlog is huge. But yeah. Number 4. Sunset Overdrive. Insomniac is one of my favorite developers in the industry. Not because of Spider-Man. In fact, I hope they don't get stuck making Spider-Man games forever because I want more Ratchet & Clank and games like Sunset Overdrive. And sorry to bring up Spider-Man, I know it's a sore subject for Xbox players. But in my opinion, he's had a bajillion games. He's been done to death. Big deal. Anyway, this hilarious, over-the-top, goofy third-person shooter is basically a slow Sonic and Ratchet & Clank combined into one. You traverse the city by jumping and grinding on rails, walls, power lines, cars, everything. All the crazy weapons are like the ones in Ratchet & Clank. For example, you have a bowling ball cannon. Yeah, you heard that right. A record player disc shooter, like the pizza shooters in the old Turtles games and cartoons. An ice ball gun, a helicopter gun, turret gun that shoots out of a mini helicopter and it shoots. The list goes on. You get to make your own character with limited but insane options. Like it's not super in depth, but the options it gives you are like, whoa. The story is ludicrous. It starts off with a soda company or an energy drink company accidentally making a drink that mutates everyone into monsters that try and kill everybody in the city. So you and your buddies form factions to try to survive and escape the city. Some of the back and forth dialogue is hilarious and could only come from the minds at Insomniac. So Sunset Overdrive comes in at number 4. Last I heard, Sony has the rights to Sunset Overdrive. If this is true, I really hope they make a sequel, because the first was something special. ReCore, number 3. I got ReCore the day it came out, back before Mighty Number 9 was released, and basically killed Concept's reputation. At the time, this game on the original Xbox One, not S or X, the launch Xbox, had the worst load times and performance. It was so bad that I could pretty much watch an entire YouTube video before the loading screen finished. But with that aside, the gameplay was awesome and somewhat familiar. It took me a few hours to realize that this game, at its core, was basically a third-person Mega Man X game. Yeah, you heard that right. If you play it and you feel it, or you can feel it if you play it. I said that wrong. I imagine this is what a third-person Mega Man X game would feel like if they ever actually made one. A third-person Mega Man X game is my dream game that will never be made. Anyways, in ReCore, you find yourself on what I believe to be Mars. You wake up alone with only your little robot dog friend. I mean, it's like having Rush. I mean, come on, it's Mega Man. Searching for clues as to what happened to the rest of your crew. And you're trying to find out why all the robots have gone bad, except for your little sidekick. So you end up searching around for answers, and you find this strange new power source. A strange-looking sphere with unlimited energy, it would seem. These spheres act like moons in Mario Odyssey. They are hidden all over the world, and you are tasked with getting as many as possible. With Mega Man-style air dashing, combat, a robot dog buddy that can turn into other robots, and great puzzles to solve and bosses to fight, this game comes in at number 3. And now that I've played it on the Xbox One X, it runs and loads so much better. If you haven't played this hidden gem yet, I encourage you to try it, especially if you're a Mega Man X fan. Number 2, Halo Master Chief Collection. What if I told you one day every main Halo game from 360 and the original Xbox would be put into a collection and combined into one menu where you could jump back and forth through Microsoft's best IP. With updated 4K textures, a remaster of the first 2 games, full split screen, online, competitive multiplayer, 7,000 new achievement points, a near endless replay collection of S-tier games and all in one, you would say, no way, Microsoft would never do that. Well, it's a thing. And sadly, the best 360 had to offer is also the best the Xbox One had to offer in the exclusives department this gen, in my opinion. Halo 5 had great gameplay, but everything else to me was awful. They added loot boxes, had the worst Halo campaign, and I play mainly for the campaign. Worst Halo campaign in the series. Out of the 13 or so missions, you only get to play as Chief and Blue Team, who are in the books. First time they've been in the game. You only get to play as them for 3 missions, and they have no backstory or anything. It's just, if you don't know about the books or who they are in the books, you have no idea who these people are. Anyway, the Halo Master Chief Collection is a love letter to any fan of Halo, and it's a must-own if you own the system. With new unlockables, fixed online, so I hear it's a lot better than it was when it launched, Split screen co-op, that's right, 5 doesn't have split screen. Enough about 5, I know. And having almost the entire story all in one spot makes this number 2 on my list. Alright, one more mention of Halo 5. After Halo 5, I gave up on Microsoft this generation. I was pretty much done with them because I bought the system for Halo 5, and Halo 5 to me was a huge letdown. I refused to hardly play anything on the Xbox because I was so pissed that with the marketing, they completely lied about Halo 5. It's like, Chief is there, but we're trying to replace him with this new guy that wants to kill him. Oh, that's like trying to kill off Mario. Okay. Anyway, this number 1 game that's coming up is the reason why I came back to Microsoft. And that number 1 game is Phantasy Star Online 2. Now prepare yourselves, this is going to be a long read. Back on the Dreamcast, I picked up a game called Phantasy Star Online. Having never played an online game before, I wasn't sure what I was in for. Right off the bat, I was hooked the second it allowed me to make a character. In this game, Clint Streiser was born, the name of my channel and video game character that I've made up with a full backstory and everything. He's the character I make in every game with a character creator ever since. He has evolved over the years and has had many different roles. Today, he is mainly a wrestler in the WWE games, along with about 30 to 50 other characters I made up with a full comic book style wrestling universe. One day I hope I'll be able to make a comic book series out of it and share it with the world. Anyways, this game was my first experience with loot hunting, with its awesome futuristic weapons that were like lightsabers from Star Wars. I'm pretty sure Star Wars had just come back at that time. I'll have to look at the date of the game in the movies. But it was like Star Wars weapons but on steroids. Its full co-op mode had split screen or online. If you've been paying attention, I really like split screen games. The world to explore was pretty dang big and had different biomes and zones. The level-based system and character with all that, the character creation, the level-based system, the weapons, I was hooked. Sadly, the series died in the States after the PSP game back in 2010 called Phantasy Star Portable 2. That was the last one we got in the States. It kept going in Japan, but for some reason they would not release it here in the States. In 2012, PSO2 was supposed to release in the West, but unfortunately, it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and I think it got secretly canceled, but they just never officially said it. I wanted to play this game so bad that I made a Japanese account and had to figure out the Japanese CAPTCHA test, which was super difficult because I don't read Japanese and all the symbols are similar or have different meanings. I managed to get it to work finally, and I was able to play it on my PS4 back in, I think it was 2016. Unfortunately, I can't read Japanese, which I almost went and took classes or tried to learn it because of this game. That's how badly I wanted to play this game. So navigating the game was near impossible because all of the menus and different counters to interact with are all in Japanese. So I didn't get very far, but I still had a blast with the combat. After all this time, I thought this was going to be my last time ever getting to play a PSO game, and it was very disappointing. But then, out of nowhere, at E3, I'm pretty sure it was last year, E3 2019, Microsoft decides to pay for a full Western port with English voice acting and, of course, English menus, so we can all read it. I didn't think they'd do full voice acting. I thought they were just going to do the menus. I would have been happy with that. I was all but done with Microsoft at this point, but them bringing back PSO2 to the West made me very glad I held on to my Xbox One X. PSO2 brought me back to Xbox. I have played this game every day since the beta, and for an MMO, this has the best combat and weapon systems I've ever played. The character creator is dialed to 11, and probably the best character creator out there for any MMO I've played. For an 8-year-old game, it's shocking how good it is. The only things it really has bad going against it, in my opinion, are the heavy menu system that will probably turn off new players, because you spend most of your time in the menus getting all your stuff ready or trying to figure out what does this, how does that, how to redeem that, and the fact that it's a free-to-play style game. Those aren't exactly for everybody. But I've been playing it since March, which is pretty much when it released in the beta. And I've been playing it since March, and I still get lost in the menus trying to find stuff. But with its amazing combat, awesome classes, amazing character creator, full English voice acting, VoIC, what is VoIC? Voice acting, and more stuff to do than you'll ever have time for, unless, there's a virus and you're stuck at home all day for months and months. But that's a different topic. This game comes in at number 1. Thank you, Microsoft, for bringing my absolute favorite Sega series back to the West. And with new Genesis around the corner, I think I'll be going with Xbox first next gen. Well done, Microsoft. Well done. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. I wonder what your list is. You probably have an actual 10. Please don't get mad at me. I didn't play Xbox enough. I could have just thrown 2 games on there, but if I didn't actually play them, I felt like I shouldn't put them on there. These are games I actually played the crap out of. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and stay frosty.